I'm on my period. I'm not ashamed to say it. I'm woman, it's part and parcel of being a girl, isn't it? But that got me thinking, how many sanitary products have I used since I got my period? And it turns out, in 15 years, you can use up to 5,000 sanitary products. Well, that's very expensive for one. And number two, it's really bad for the environment. So I thought to myself, is there any other alternate ways for us to manage our periods? And I found out that there's this product called the menstrual cup. Well, what's a menstrual cup? Let me tell you. The first time I saw it, it scared me because the size of it was just, I don't know, it was intimidating. I don't know how to use it. I don't know anything about this. And on today's episode of Oliginal, we're going to find out everything we want to know about the menstrual cup. I'm Olinda Cho, this is Oliginal, and since I'm on my period today, I'm going to give it a shot. So let's go! Take a walk with me, have a talk with me, come to know the Oliginal me. So there's this company called Freedom Cups. It was founded by three sisters. I have two of them with me today. They have made it to the Forbes 30 under 30 list, and they have even met Obama. And there's also the user of Freedom Cups here, Ananta. She will give us the unbiased opinion on Freedom Cups. So I want to ask you guys the most basic question. What is Freedom Cups? Tell us more.
It basically is like a reusable tampon. So this looks kind of big and daunting, but the main aim is to fold it to decrease the surface area. So you can fold it like this, it becomes about this size, but some women still find it's quite big. So what we recommend is kind of just hook it down. If you hook it down, it becomes about the size of a tampon.
Okay. And how long can I leave it in?
10 to 12 hours.
How much blood do we collect in a 10 to 12 hours?
That's a good question. So for most women, the average flow is about 50 to 70 milliliters over your entire period. One cup, the one that you're holding, holds about 30 ml.
It feels like 3 liters to me.
Exactly, yeah. Most women feel the same way, but I think I think when it comes out onto a pad, it kind of looks like you're bleeding out, but you know.
And how much do these cost?
Now they're retailing for about $35.
So let's do the math here, okay? I want to know how much money I save if I buy this.
If I'm not wrong, I did the math and I earned the money back in about 5 to 6 months.
I read, right, that the best thing about this is that with every cup that I buy, one gets given away, right? To someone in need.
Yeah, so we work on a buy one, give one model, and for every cup that we sell to a woman in the first world who can afford it, we give one for free to a woman who can't afford it. So I think 70% of all women across the globe have no access to either toilets or clean running water or pads and tampons during their periods, which is a huge problem if you think about it.
Especially for homeless women.
Yeah,
right.
Precisely. And it's not just homeless women. I mean, we're looking at, say, prostitutes or just generally women who, even in Singapore, there's so many urban poor. You know, people who can't afford, who, you know, have 4 children and they're living on less than $1,000 a month.
Right.
Then a pack of pads, you know, is very, very expensive. Yeah. So I think there are lots of people who actually, you know, need help.
So you guys are in your 20s, right? So how did you come into this, how do you get this idea to start this business, to do this?
We were lucky enough to come from IJ Toa Payoh, so we spent 10 years in a girls' school, and even in a place that kind of breeds very confident and independent and, you know, strong women. Our girls are not being taught enough about periods, so...
I remember the first time I got my period, I was afraid. I didn't know what was going on, and I think that shows a lot.
But how did the idea to bring this one come in?
So Vanessa heard about menstrual cups from her friend who was doing his internship in Guatemala. And many women there were using menstrual cups and they talked about how they swapped to it and they loved it and it's the best decision they've ever made. So we were wondering why we have had access to the internet for 20 years, but we have never heard of menstrual cups or never seen a menstrual cup. So that's when we started doing our research and toying with the idea of bringing menstrual cups in. And we also realized that the menstrual cups that exist now don't really fit Asian women. It's much bigger and the rim is more firm.
That's the size that I need. That's my biggest fear, you know, using this and then it just drops out. Then something is wrong with me, right?
Yeah, something is
not wrong, but okay, you know, I'm quite blessed in some ways. Yeah.
No,
now we've got two sizes anyway. So this is the larger one, that's the smaller one.
Oh, okay. Oh, wow, this is really big.
So if you have very, very heavy flows and you don't want to empty your cup out so often, then use the bigger cup. Also, you know, we've had women who, you know, some of our customers write to us and they're like, yeah, you know, we've been washing it with vinegar and I don't know, you know, if you,
Why do you wash with vinegar?
There are lots of strange people out there. So, I mean, we generally tell people just soap and water. What people are doing, you know, behind closed doors, the cups might last less.
Becky, can you tell me, how long has this cup been around?
Our cups have been around for about 2.5 to 3 years, but menstrual cups were first invented in the 1930s.
That
Yeah.
long? They've been using it for that long?
These cups were actually invented way before modern day pads and tampons. Yeah.
Oh, wow. I thought
Fun
they
fact.
came like later on.
Yeah.
The big question is, will it get stuck?
It can't get lost or stuck inside because the vagina is not a big black hole. Many people imagine it to be. So the vagina is actually a muscular bag. So when the cup is in, as long as you flex your muscles, the cup actually comes back down.
Okay, this is like this, right? When I put it in, it will be all the way in like that.
Yeah.
So this, basically this much is sticking
No,
out.
everything needs to be in because if it's sticking
The
out,
entire thing.
yeah, if it's sticking out when you walk, you can feel it. When you sit, you can feel it. So it'll be very uncomfortable. So when you put everything in, you can't feel it at all.
So Nanda, you've been using this for how long?
For about a year.
Okay.
Yeah.
So what are the challenges you face like using this?
So when you remove it, of course, there's collected blood, right? And then you empty it down the toilet bowl. And then I prefer rinsing it out. So when I change it outside, if there's a spray, then of course it's very convenient. But during times where there isn't, I always have my bottle with me, my water bottle. So I would have to kind of like do a bit of balancing act and like use the bottle to rinse it out and things like that. But so far there haven't been any like nasty accidents.
So you guys mentioned that it's a more eco-friendly option. So can you elaborate more?
Yeah, so one cup lasts about 10 years. And over that period, we would use about 12,000 non-biodegradable pads or tampons. And pads and tampons, they are lined with plastics, so it lasts forever.
Right.
And imagine like after a few hours of using a pad, it smells like that. Like, can you imagine like your great-great-great-grandmother's pads are probably still around on a landfill somewhere?
Ama. So when it comes to Singaporeans, do you feel that they are more resistant to changing, to using the Freedom Cup?
I guess because like Singapore, we are known to be a conservative country. So when it comes to like insertion and everything, people are they seem to be more put off by that. When I've spoken to my friends about it, when I started using it, I was telling them, like, hey, you know, I'm using this thing, it's called menstrual cup and everything. And when they were informed that, you know, it's an insertion, they were kind of like, oh, wow, really? You know, do I have to do that? That kind of thing. And it is scary for them because they've never done it before or they've never heard it before. Because menstrual cups...
It's like tampons, isn't it? Right?
Because menstrual cups are a pretty new thing, and also like when it opens up, the size is a bit bigger. So,
Not just in Singapore, but in most parts of the world, women are just not comfortable talking about, you know, things as basic as their bodies or their reproductive systems. And, you know, it's got such there's so much ignorance and so much shame and so much silence that surrounds this entire thing.
when we talk about periods, we discuss it very comfortably with our female friends. But when it comes to like talking about it with a guy, usually the response will be like, ew, gross, I don't want to know about that. Or like, you know, there's this joke like, oh, you throw a tampon and you see who screams first, it'll be the guys, that kind of thing. I mean, this is what I notice amongst my friends. Whenever we need pads or any other menstrual products, you know, we kind of keep it on the hush. We don't want the guys to know. And then when it comes to the guys asking what's going on, it's like, oh, it's a women thing. I mean, like, why are we so embarrassed about it?
Correct. There was once I was having my period suddenly. So I'd be like, oh my god, does anyone have a pad? I need a pad. And then this guy from my lecture hall, like my lecture class, he stood up and he says, I have one. That was it.
Oh
What?
my
Wow,
A
no
guy.
way.
He's like, and I'm like, why do you
Yeah.
have one? He just said, well, you never know, there are always emergencies. Hey, I tell
Hey,
you.
I want to marry
Yeah,
Ken.
give me his
Like,
number.
this is really
I'll give
sweet.
you my number after this.
Sweet guy, right? So do that. You pick up a lot of girls along the way.
Yeah.
I was so fall in love with him for that 5 minutes,
Yeah.
right? I thought.
That's really
Yeah.
sweet.
So thank you very much, Becky. Thank you, Vanessa, and thank you for Ananta for taking the time out to come here and share with us your experience and your amazing story. So next up, it's my turn to go and try out the Freedom Cup, and I'm going to get a little bit of help from Becky. All right, Becky, let's get down to business. You told me all about Freedom Cup, why you do it, who, what, when, where, why. Now I need to know how. How do I use this?
Okay. So there's 2 ways to fold it. So the first way, it looks like this. Got it. Yep. Yeah, something like that. And the second way is to put your finger on the rim and push it down to the center, like that. So this fold is what we recommend for people using cups for the first time because the surface area is much smaller. Yeah.
The entry point. No?
Yeah. So you insert it at an angle towards your tailbone because your vagina is tilted towards it. And once you can't reach it anymore, the cup is going to pop open.
Cool.
Yeah, so just make sure everything is in, nothing's sticking up.
And how do you keep this clean?
So any soap that's mild enough for your skin is mild enough for the cup. You can also soak it in boiling water for 3 to 5 minutes before and after your period.
Okay.
Yeah, and then when you're done, you can just keep it in this bag. Just carry it around in your handbag or put it in your luggage bag, whatever you want to do.
And when you need to use it again, just rinse it out.
Yep,
Pop it back.
exactly.
Sounds very simple, huh? So now it's my turn to go and try it out. So we have 2 sizes, right?
Yep.
So could you pick one out for me? Which one do you
Okay,
recommend?
so the smaller one we generally recommend for people using menstrual cups for the first time. Always start with the smaller one. The bigger cup is just for women who are already using cups but find that their flow is really heavy and they don't want to change it out as often. Then you can swap to the bigger one.
I'm a cup virgin, so
The smaller one.
thank you. All right, let's give this a shot. I'll be back.
One eternity later.
All right, I'm back, Becky.
How was it?
Well, to be very honest, I can't really feel it. But it wasn't easy to get in.
The first time it's like that, but once you get the hang of it, it's really easy.
I'll try it out until the end of the day and then I'll let you know. All right, thank you very much, Becky, for coming and teaching me and running me through the whole process of putting it in and taking it out. And for the rest of you out there, if you want to watch other episodes of Oliginal, you can check out the links below. I'll see you next week.